All right, this is a rant video about our hobby. I'm just miffed right now. So, as many of you know, I'll just list the issues I've had since getting into this hobby about a year ago, and it wasn't even then when I started buying the more expensive trains, the more expensive sound decoder trains. That was probably only been about 8 months. I started out with I bought a Digitrax DCS 52. Started showing issues, surging issues, especially with my Atlas GP38, which is what I'll get to, that, and my ScaleTrains too, my GVO Tier 4. So I sent it into Digitrax. They had it for over 2 months. I was patient, I get it, but in dealing, about a week after they got it, a lady named Brenda, who other people on the board have now confirmed that she is in fact a jerk. And she lied to me, jerk and a liar. And I have the comms to prove it. She goes, well, we tested it and there's nothing wrong with it. And, we went round and round and then they kept it. I was like, well, why did you keep it for another 2 months if there was nothing wrong with it and you tested it? It's just, I'm not going to go into every detail specifically, but then I sent that Atlas GP38 into Atlas. It's been 2 months. I just got a phone call today. Oh, and in between them, my ScaleTrains GVO Tier 4 quit working. Called up ScaleTrains. They said to send it in. So far, they seem solid. We'll see. But the guy calls me, and first off, they haven't been answering my emails for like a week and a half, or since November 25th. So more than a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. So gets a call, says, hey, have you cleaned your track and your wheels? You can ask my wife and my father. All I do is clean track and wheels. It feels like that's all I ever do. He's like, what do you use? And I go, WD-40 contact cleaner. He's like, well, that stuff's no good. I disagree. I vehemently disagree. He goes, you want isopropyl? He's like, and I said I use mineral spirits. He's like, that stuff's junk too. It leaves residue. He's rubbing alcohol is what you want. Now, let me do a little fork in the road here. Out of all the posts on this forum, and all the YouTube videos I watched, out of all the other posts on the internet, for every single one of those I've seen, which is probably hundreds of them, you've got someone saying all the other stuff is junk, but the stuff they use, no oxide, mineral spirits, rubbing alcohol, contact cleaner, CRC, the shit from your ass, is the best. It's the only thing you should use. He goes, well, your wheels are so dirty that the decoder couldn't get it, because what was happening is the train would make noise, the lights would come on, everything else would work as it should, it just wouldn't move. And I'm not talking it wouldn't stutter or anything like that, it just would not, move, not an inch, even if I pushed it. And he goes, first I took the chip out, then I put just a DC, I ran a DC and it ran fine. And he goes, so your wheels are the dirty. He goes, did you clean your wheels? I said, this is what I did to that track when I was troubleshooting. First, I sanded it, starting with 600 grit sandpaper, or maybe even 400. Then I went up by 200s, 4, 6, 8, all the way up to 3,000. Then I used mineral spirits. Then someone said, then I used rubbing alcohol. And each time I could see in my white t-shirt, a little bit less and less black each time I cleaned it. And then as I was done cleaning the whole track with the rubbing alcohol, just that day, I remember the contact cleaner came in the mail. So I did it all over again. And the contact cleaner picked up way more dirt than the rubbing alcohol did. And then I did the method where you put the paper towel on the track, and then you spray it with all your chemical cleaner and run the wheels over it. I did that over and over again until the wheels were clean. And then this guy calls me up and tells me that my track's dirty and my wheels are clean. No, they are not. I mean, it's just, what is it with this hobby and these manufacturers? And then because it took so long, that GP38, I really liked the color scheme, the U.S. flag. And I figured, well, they'll fix it and get it back to me. I ordered another one from Hiawatha Hobbies. Same one, so I could consist it and it would look cool. I get it. Insanely loud grinding noise coming from the rear truck, from the gears. So I call up Iowa, and they have a policy where within 15 days you could return it if it's a manufacturer's defect. Well, I got into an argument about that. Well, we'll fix it. I said, your website doesn't say you'll fix it. I said, I'm done with this. Return it. They argued with me about that. It's every single person seems to have their own shtick about what works and nothing else does, and that's why your machine doesn't work. It's like, well, how about this dude from Atlas? Who was a nice guy? I'm sorry I'm ranting if he sees this, dude. You were a nice guy, but the problem is, and I'm not going to say this on the phone with you and argue with you, because what's the point? You have your beliefs. But the bottom line is I cleaned that track. You could take a white glove. There'd be no dirt on it. And the wheels. And every other train I have was just fine on it. I mean, while I was testing that GP38 before, no problems. None. So, is the weak train, weak decoder, poor pickup system? I mean, I'm not averse to admitting it was something I'm doing. But when I was going through the Digitrax testing, I mean, I tested I've got that my track is soldered, each 3-foot Atlas section. And each 3-foot section has a short feeder wire to a 12-gauge bus. Everyone. When I do the DCC test, and you put the Digitrax on analog mode, and you test, there's going to be, you test each rail, and then you add the rails up. That's how it does with Digitrax. So each rail is, everywhere on my layout is plus or minus 0.01 volts, 6.99 to 7.01 volts. You add together, that's 14. Everywhere on my track, maybe plus or minus 0.01. So you tell me, I'm sorry, this is very irritating, this whole hobby. In fact, the trains, I'm getting to it, they're my least favorite part of the hobby. The rolling stock is awesome. Weathering the rolling stock is awesome. Doing the landscape is awesome. The static grass, the trees, the water, the lighting, love the lighting. The Miller animated signs, those are awesome. The trains, headaches, annoyances. Come on, and it's crap from shit that's $240, $250, $300, $200, and then 2 months to fix it. Come on, and then tell me the reason it's serious because my tracks and wheels are ready. No, they're not. Sorry, dude, they're not. I scour that track constantly. The wheels I do with the until there was no. Sorry, and I mean, I know a lot of people are probably going to just pick me apart or disagree, or that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you can say it's all my fault, and maybe it is. I mean, I'm not one of those people. I could be doing something wrong. It just seems like, BLI, 3 brand new ScaleTrains from them. Every single one of them had issues. Paragon 4, brand new. So that's very frustrating. So my point is back to the second GP38 I bought. Yes, I'm sending it back to Hiawatha Hobbies, and they can eat it and send it back to Atlas, and they can eat it. And that's the only way this is going to, my point to this video is that's the only way this is going to get fixed. These companies are going to get fixed is when we stop accepting garbage. $200 and some odd garbage, and go, well, I'll just, because I could have ordered $3 trucks from Atlas and probably tore open the rear truck on that new GP38, and that's probably what it is, because I had another GP38 that the trucks, I saw the gears were, I'm willing to bet that a lot of GP38s have messed up gears, because I've had 3, and it seems like that all 3 of them had a similar issue with the gears they're just. Yeah, so don't accept that. Don't fix it yourself. Don't just send it back, shove it down their throats until they get the hint. Stop pumping out garbage. I get people. I know people are like, well, no one's perfect. I get that. I get that. I do. And I get you have a certain percentage of defective. I get all that, but it seems like in this hobby, the percentage is significantly larger than in other things I've been affiliated with in a professional sense and in a hobby sense. So I'm frustrated. I'm sure I said some nonsense. You know, feel free to roast away. Meanwhile, I'll just wait for this GP38 to get back to me, and I'm going to sell it. And from now on, the only train that hasn't given me a problem is my Athearn Genesis 2.0. So I'm going to run those from now on, and I'll still stick with ScaleTrains because that thing was solid before it started acting up. And depending on what they say and how long it takes them to fix it, and if they jerk me around, we'll see. So for now, for me, it's Athearn Genesis. Maybe, ScaleTrains is still in the mix. BLI, forget it. Atlas, forget it. People said that Kato, but I don't know if they even still do HO. Does Kato still even do HO? Excuse me. So, frustrating. That's all I've got. So feel free to, like I said, roast away.